This is the last presentation under the series Indian Economic Planning, at least for time being. In this presentation, we'll look at NITI Aayog and its new approach to economic planning in India post 2017, the year in which the last 5-year plan of India, the 12th plan, ended. We'll review the period 2017-21 in terms of the new programs and schemes launched, and also some of the macroeconomic data that we have for the period 2017 and 2020. The NITI Aayog Policy Commission was set up on 1st January 2015, thereby replaced the erstwhile Planning Commission of India. NITI Aayog is mandated to prepare policies for the country on a shared vision basis and implement various plans and programs to achieve the goals in the spirit of the policy prepared by the NITI Aayog, involving the center, states and union territories, thereby bringing and enhancing the spirit of cooperative federalism in India. NITI Aayog also monitors the implementation of various plans and programs and evaluates their outcomes. NITI Aayog also works as a think tank, knowledge and innovation hub that can help the Aayog in preparing the policies, plans and programs to benefit each and every individual in the country. Shri Narendra Damodar Das Modi is the chairperson of NITI Aayog, as Prime Minister is always the chairman of NITI Aayog, like the provision of Planning Commission. Dr. Rajiv Kumar is the vice chairperson of NITI Aayog, supported by 3 full-time members, Shri V.K. Saraswat, Professor Ramesh Chand and Dr. V.K. Paul. 4 ex-officio members from the Cabinet of Government of India, Shri Rajnath Singh, Shri Amit Shah, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, Shri Narendra Singh Tomar. The special invitees are Shri Nitin Jairam Gadkari, Shri Piyush Goyal, Dr. Virender Kumar, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, Shri Rao Inderjit Singh. If we add the Chief Ministers of various states and union territories and Lieutenant Governors of various union territories where legislatures don't exist, then this body becomes the Governing Council of the NITI Aayog. 2017, the NITI Aayog is talking about a planning model that has 15-year long-term vision plan, 7-year medium-term strategic plan, and a 3-year short-term action plan. The 15-year long-term vision plan can very well correspond with the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. If we look at some of the policy and program initiatives taken up during 2017-18 after the completion of the 12th 5-year plan, out of many, these are some of the specific initiatives. The Atal Innovation Mission. The components of Atal Innovation Mission are Atal Tinkering Labs, wants to promote creative and innovative mindsets in schools, Atal Incubators to promote entrepreneurship in universities and industries, Atal Vikas Challenges and Atal Grand Challenges to promote tech innovations and product creations for social and commercial impact. And many of the products we have seen during the last 2-3 years have come up under this scheme of Atal Vikas Challenges and Atal Grand Challenges. This mission also has a component called Mentor India Network that wants to create an army of mentors. The mentors that can guide the change agents that will emerge in the economy in future. The government also initiated reforms in Homeopathy Central Council Act and Indian Medicine Central Council Act. Mumbai Ahmedabad High Speed Rail project was initiated. Programs were initiated for the holistic development of islands. The government also launched the aspirational district programs in January 2018. Aspirational district program was launched to transform 112 most underdeveloped districts of India with a sustained focus on improving these districts in areas such as health and nutrition, education, agriculture and water resources, financial inclusion and skill development, and infrastructure. The government also decided to rank these districts on year-to-year basis on 49 key performance indicators from the above-mentioned areas so as to see the progress achieved under the aspirational district programs. The success of the aspirational district programs can go a long way in raising the level of human development and sustainable development in the country. 2018-19 initiatives were agricultural reforms carried out, areas such as Model Act on contract farming, discussion on business model for doubling farmers' income, and the launch of Pradhan Mantri Annadata Aay Sanrakshan Abhiyan, PM ASHA. Scheme tries to ensure remunerative prices to the farmers on their produce beyond the minimum support price mechanism that we have. Government also launched reforms in the nutrition sector because India suffers from the problem of undernourishment and malnutrition of its population, particularly children and mothers. So the Poshan Abhiyan Nutrition Mission was launched on 8 March 2018 with the declaration of celebration of Rashtriya Poshan Ma, National Nutrition Month, September being the month to observe the progress made under the scheme and to create awareness also among the public. It also decided to continue to give the trust to aspirational district programs. Government initiated a series of measures to reform the energy sectors because experts are talking about energy crisis and water crisis to impending danger in front of policymakers in the near future. It also launched Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana (PMJAY) in September 2018. PMJAY is a scheme under the scheme of Ayushman Bharat. PMJAY has become world's largest health insurance scheme because it provides a coverage to around 10.7 crore poor and vulnerable families by providing health cover of 5 lakhs per family per year in secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. The care which is otherwise beyond the means of these poor people. 2020 was concerned, the government decided to give continuous trust to aspirational district programs, education sector-oriented reforms, energy sector reforms, and the government continued to push towards agricultural reforms. And in this area, government formed the committee to suggest to the government ways and means to double farmers' income. This year also saw tangible progress in the area of declaration of the National Energy Policy 2019. 2021 brought many policy changes and reforms in Indian economy. The first one was the agriculture sector related reforms. In the month of September 2020, Parliament passed the 3 farm bills: the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Act 2020, the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020, the Essential Commodities Act 2020, which was a modified version of the 1955 Act. The government's stand was the urgent need for these reforms to enable the agriculture sector to grow at a faster rate and also enable the government to double farmers' income in the stipulated time period. However, controversies erupted after the passing of the 3 acts. Since then, the Government of India as well as the Supreme Court of India has put on hold on their implementation. As the aspirational district programs have long-term goals of raising the human development and sustainable development indices in the country in the selected 112 districts of India, government to push towards attainment of the objectives of this program. Energy sector reforms, government decided to allocate coal blocks for commercial mining under liberal terms and conditions so as to give a boost to the energy sector of India. Under health sector reforms, government measures to develop public health and management cadre in India, came up with telemedicine guidelines, came up with employment state insurance scheme reforms, decided to have public health surveillance in India by 2035 to have a data bank on various health related issues. And also government brought changes and reforms in the pharmaceutical and medicinal devices sector provisions. Education sector reforms, the country saw the implementation of the National Education Policy, setting up of Higher Education Commission of India, and measures to rebrand India as a study destination for foreign students. Significant reforms that came in the industrial sector was the launch of the PLI schemes, Production Linked Incentives schemes. In March 2020, Mr. Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman came up with 3 schemes. Then again in the month of September, 10 more schemes, and after boost domestic production and thereby enhance manufacturing capabilities of the country so as to achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Global supply chain was disrupted due to the COVID pandemic 2019, and it led to orientation of the global supply chain. Government of India decided to give incentives the investors who wanted to set up their units in India in the specific years. The nutrition sector reforms related to the scaling up of the Poshan Abhiyan, waiting Mantri Matru Bandhana Yojana, Mother Welfare Scheme, evaluation of Integrated Child Development Scheme, and also government tried to see the efforts to strengthen the quality of care in various child care institutions in India. The macroeconomic aggregates for the period 2017 to 2020, 2017 because 31st March, the 12th plan ended. I have picked up the data till 2020 because 2021 data are provisional estimates, and hence even for 2019-20 what we have: first revised estimates, second revised estimates, third revised estimates. So I intentionally decided to skip the 2021 data. Too early to use them for analysis purpose. Figures don't give us that much of understanding. The better indicator is to look at the growth rate, and the growth rate in 2017-18 was 6.8%, 5% in 18-19, and 4% in 2019-20. So gradual decline in the GDP growth rate, and this 20 GDP growth rate figure we have to see in the context of the effect of COVID 2019 pandemic. GDP per capita growth rate is always lower than the GDP growth rate because of the growth in population. So if the GDP growth rate is declining, it's very natural to see a declining trend in the GDP per capita as well. Capital formation more or less stable during this 3 years period. The 3 years period where the world economy was in trouble. First, due to the recessionary trend. The recessionary trend that started way back in 2007 and 8 in the US. And we know, as students of macroeconomics, we know that recession happens, it continues for a considerable period of time. So 2007-8, 2021, the recession has continued with brief years of signs of recovery, but didn't happen. One shock after another has happened in the world economy during this period. Economy recovers. See upward trend in the economic activities for a considerable period of time. This is how the trade cycle happens. We don't know when and how the world economy will recover from the recessionary grip. But if we look at the IMF World Economic Outlook Report, October 2021, then there are positive signs for the developing countries, particularly India. As per the IMF report, India will be the fastest growing economy in the world in 2021-22 as well as in 2023. In 2021-22, economy will grow at 9.5% compared to China's growth of 8%, South Africa 5%, Brazil 5.2%. The growth rates in developed countries are somewhat lower. US will grow at 6%, France 6.3%, UK 6.8%, Japan 2.4%. As students of economics, we understand that these are matured economics and hence their growth rate is somewhat lower than the developing countries, which have a long way to go to reach the stage of the developed countries, and hence they can grow faster than the developed countries of the globe. That the growth predictions that IMF has made for the various economies of the world for 2021-22 and 22-23 translate into realities, and the world economy in the trajectory of economic expansion. Thank you for joining the presentation.